Hey guys, here in San Francisco, I'm going to break down whether or not we are in an AI bubble. I'm here in San Francisco talking with a lot of individuals about this particular topic. And I will have to say, many people are worried about the overall market, about the technology itself. I kind of think about this in a little perspective of myself. I've been building AI agents for over 3 years now. Spent over $30,000 in API tokens using the large language models, which is a lot. That's over 600,000 tests to the large language models. Um, and networked with some of the best, fastest growing startups here in Silicon Valley. But the question keeps coming up, are we in a bubble? Um, Even Sam Altman got on a podcast, B2G podcast recently, whom I love and watch frequently. And, when asked, where are they going to get the commitments for where are they going to get the commitments for the data center infrastructure build out? He didn't have an answer, but he believes that revenue will be coming in the future. And since then, been asking the U.S. government for a grant. Um, I'm here in Rycom Park, right near the water here in San Francisco, kind of next to the FIDI Financial District. Lots of activity, beautiful. The kind of zombie crisis is actually not too bad. The drug zombie crisis, homelessness, individuals without homes crisis is not too bad. It's quite beautiful. The air is very fresh. Nice bird and stuff. But people are kind of worried, and the market just actually recently took kind of a dip. And I've been thinking about this a lot and listening to a lot of some of the smartest people in the valley on this topic, and we can kind of both have two simultaneous truths in our head at the exact same time, which is, you know, number one, the expectation in the market, namely the S&P 500, Nvidia, Facebook, Meta, Google, the Mag 7, the Mag 8, the Mag 9, or whatever. These valuations make sense in an ongoing growth factor, assuming that the growth continues to happen. In other words, the valuations, these stocks are overpriced if they do not continue to grow and grow quickly in the future. What this means is, and the original promise of AI is that it actually does labor, monotonous tasks. Tasks that are kind of low skilled or semi skilled knowledge work entirely replaced. And when ChatGPT first came on the scene, it captured the imagination of many people, although it had very, very heavy limitations to what it can actually do. What I will say on this topic is that it's important to note that if the original promise of AI, AI actually doing the work for us, does not come true, we are definitely in a financial hype cycle in the overall market. Now, startups are getting funded, lots of money. People are extremely surprised to see the valuations, and this is kind of more true now than ever, but this has kind of always been startup ecoland, where they expect over 95% of startups to absolutely go to zero and fail. But I will say at the same time, the ones that do make it, they do expect for these startups to take off like crazy and be worth a lot. It's called the power law, and actually, investors in the early stage startup ecosystem actually take this into account. They invest in you and say, "Good luck. You're on a hard journey, and we're here to support you." But your startup is probably going to fail. So that being said, these some of the crazy $200 million valuations that you see in sort of early stage, Series A startups for like Harvey and TaxGPT and others are totally justified in their risk adjusted profile, since all the investors want to go into this, and there's only a few extremely good startup founders and extremely good, well run businesses. Given given the technological capabilities of today. Now, this is a channel about AI agents and not just AI overall. So, what I will say is that AI. We're all familiar with AI. Most people use AI on at least a weekly basis or a monthly basis. Many on a daily basis, like I do. And what we do is we send the message in the prompt to the large language model, and it gives us as much information as we need, and usually very good nowadays. But the AI agents I'm describing, kind of in my last video, of course, is the fact that AI agents will be able to actually interact in the real world using tools, and they'll also be utilizing say the information that they learned over time, which we actually don't see. Even the best AI agents today are not good at learning. They're absolutely terrible at it. They forget every 5 minutes. Even still, the best AI agents, are in coding space right now, taking off like crazy. And it's because there's actually the memory is kind of built into the code base itself, where it's able to quickly look up the code base. But it doesn't necessarily learn the preferences, policies, and procedures, and kind of legal structure that an organization, small business, or individual has, which is kind of been the problem. AI can't guess. There's not a standard preference, policy, and procedure across all businesses. Every single unique individual business and enterprise is different. And so, when you're looking at AI agents, these things have to learn, and they have to learn really good. They need to know, even when new information comes in, it can't just store it in a database somewhere. It has to also attach, when an extent, what I call an extent, which is to which extent does this new information apply? Meaning, is it a one-off situation? Is it very rare that this situation occurs? So there is going to be human in the loop, in so much as an intern or an early employee. The manager is always the human in the loop associated with that particular role or function. But we don't see AI agents like that today. And so, really, this channel and this kind of mindset actually gets to the core of what it means to be in a bubble or not in a bubble. And human psychology would probably say that the market is frothy. Money, large money, big money, usually flows in much earlier than the actual underlying value actually takes place. This is a very common psychological and expected phenomenon. What's going on this time is we still have very smart investors, and we're very well connected and very learned from the past of the dot-com bubble and some other crises that have taken place in the past. And even new investors and newer firms kind of understand, have much more of an awareness of risks. Now, if you look at even OpenAI, Anthropic, set aside Meta, Google, Facebook, the multiples on their earnings, meaning the amount of money, the amount of money of valuation associated with these stocks or these private companies and enterprises is only in the ballpark of like 20 to 40 at most. And yet we see the likes of like OpenAI growing like crazy, meaning they're likely to double sometime in the next, or triple in the next few years in revenue. Um, uh, and this is very, very easy to see a pathway to double or tripling over the next 3 years. This means they're multiple on revenue. So actually, it actually can forward adjusted could actually look more like 10 or 20, or even lower than that, maybe 8. What that means is that it should only take assuming all else stays the same, assuming there's no other crazy breakthroughs, assuming that the market is generally the way it is going to be right now. You buy kind of a little piece of OpenAI or Anthropic or some of these others, you can earn your money back in 8 years, forward adjusted, and then you're just making money on stock dividends and stuff like that. That's amazing. The average S&P 500 is starting to creep up to S&P 500 company or enterprise is starting to creep up to like something like 30 as a multiple, and these companies are not growing quickly. Large company corporations are not growing anywhere to the likes of these AI companies, AI startups, which means the overall market actually might be more overvalued than the actual AI, large language lab companies themselves, which is quite interesting. Another thing to note is that this technology is still very early as it's disseminated into society. There's still a small fraction of individuals who actually use it on a regular basis, and the underlying value and how it disseminates into society is still not there. Sam Altman, others of the smartest minds I've heard, repeated a quote. It might be my Mark Twain. I actually don't know where it came from, but it's kind of along the lines of AI is both the most overhyped and underhyped technology we've ever seen, I think. But the quote goes more like, we always both overestimate how soon a technology will disseminate into society, and we underestimate how valuable it is. So we underestimate how valuable how much of an impact the actual underlying technology is going to have in society, but we overestimate how quickly it disseminates throughout society. We're humans of creature habits. This is interesting. We're humans of creature and habits, and we have a hard time changing our kind of routine as we go throughout life, even if it's at the benefit to ourselves. It usually takes years for us to kind of change habits and actually do something different. And first movers and those that kind of start extremely early are usually kind of mocked and ridiculed. And I can't believe you're a YouTuber, or I can't believe you think AI is a big deal. I'm a scientist and an AI researcher in a very large cog. I'm a small cog in a large wheel, and I know all this about AI. I'm actually roommates with an AI scientist, and he and researcher who makes probably over really good salary, and is very plugged in and believes this. And this is my opinion, but from my experience, the scratching the surface with AI agents, they still don't really actually do the work. They help us do the work. They create something, especially with text, and starting to be image and video. But we copy and paste, we iterate, we have to finagle it a bunch of times, and then post it, and then get it right in order for it to be accurate, in order for it to be correct, or have any value. That's not the future. We're talking about within the next few years, autonomous agents actually starting to do whole roles and positions of companies and corporations. I'm talking about massive value, and we're just at the very beginning. The underlying technology is fascinating. It captures the imagination. It kind of falls into two camps. Those are inexperienced with AI, and those are experienced with AI models. And those that are inexperienced with AI models are extremely conflicted. Some believe, oh my gosh, this is going to change everything. It can do anything. It's Einstein, but it thinks it has arms and legs when it doesn't. And those inexperienced with AI tools and a large variety of tools, like actually experienced with AI, we know that it's not the most amazing thing in the world. It's not changing the world as amazingly as it is right now, as some people think. But it will. It's absolutely improving quite rapidly and nearly on an exponential increase just at the very beginning. And the very beginning doesn't feel like an exponential, but when the exponential actually starts to kick in, it's extremely hard to keep up. Those that are inexperienced with AI agents sometimes think it's the dumbest thing ever. But those that are actually used to the tools know it is an extremely fundamental shift in how we're going to do society today, but especially in the future. Now, I mentioned about an exponential curve. When an exponential curve starts, it starts very, very gradual. You can barely feel it. It feels linear. It's equivalent to linear. But when the exponential starts to develop and mature, an exponential curve actually is extremely hard to predict how much it's going to change. And every industry is going to be different. Society is going to be different. Whoever knows the future, exactly the timelines, is kidding you. They actually don't. But we can certainly get signs, and we can certainly adjust and move. And so, as AI agent builders, be extremely cognizant that it's the most important thing right now is to move and change. Something large companies can't do, by the way. Large companies cannot do this. Something startup founders will absolutely be able to do. History is not written, not even close, not even close. We are just past the 1 year mark of reasoning models, and these are finally systems that are actually sort of able to mimic thinking. So we're extremely early, and these are just the model. That's just the model and infrastructure layer. The infrastructure layer is 10xing really quickly, so we can imagine faster, smarter, more brute force systems at a cheaper cost at scale. And we can imagine AI researchers, Sam Altman mentioned next year, starting to use large language models in AI research. There's another of many Waymos. Here in San Francisco, you see Waymos absolutely everywhere. And they're driving all by themselves. There's no driver. They just pick you up and they drop you off. I've used a Waymo dozens of times already. Teslas are very common. Cybertrucks are very common. But yeah, guys, I just want to give a little perspective on what's actually happening here in Silicon Valley and San Francisco. It's really hard to hear through the noise and through the news cycles. If it bleeds, people read, it goes viral. If it sounds too crazy to be true, then it meets the headlines. The reality is, it's important to be moderate. See, there's a Cybertruck. Very common. Very common. And it has looks like it got in an accident. That's a coincidence. That's not common. But usually they're looking pretty stunning without a fender bender. The fender is literally bent down and off, and they have a problem. But anyway, that's just a coincidence. This is for a broader audience. I wanted to kind of shed some light into what's actually happening here. Grinding out here, actually a real practitioner in building AI agents right here in Silicon Valley in San Francisco. As you can see, it's not zombie apocalypse here in the nicer part of downtown financial district. I'm kind of over here in definitely a much nicer part of town. So there's another Tesla. But there's just a few streets I might walk through sometime later. That's literally a drug zombie apocalypse happening, and they will bother you sometimes, but usually not. So, but yeah, here's San Francisco, guys. I'm gonna do a lot more of this. Let me know what you want to talk about more. Let me know what you want to hear on as it relates to the agent revolution. This is going to be just the beginning with me and you in a long journey of understanding what the heck is going on and what I need to do. Not just what I can do, but what should I be doing right now to prepare for one of the largest wealth transfers in business history we have ever seen. So stay encouraged. Do the annoying thing and like, subscribe, comment, share with everyone you know, because this is the best channel to watch during this AI agent revolution. Again, Miles Maggio, peace out, and catch you next time.